In the top, our news here at 6 o'clock, an age-old dream becoming a reality. A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
It's a major breakthrough that will no doubt make motorists happy. And as Ralph Robinson explains, the Pentagon is also showing lots of interest in this project.
In 1996, a court in Ohio was to deliver a verdict, one that would either change the world's automobile industry or bring one man's dream to the brink of extinction. Stanley Meyer, an inventor with over 200 patents to his name, claimed to have created a car that could run on water. His invention promised to revolutionize the transportation industry, reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, and challenge the global oil economy. Let's look at the story of Stanley Meyer, a man who dared to dream big and paid the ultimate price. Born on August 24, 1940 in Columbus, Ohio, Stanley Allen Meyer was one of two identical twin brothers, the other being Stephen Meyer. From a young age, Stanley was a tinkerer, an inventor with a knack for solving complex problems. After finishing high school, he enlisted in the military instead of going to college. His career took him to prestigious institutions like the Battelle Memorial Institute and even NASA, where he contributed to the Gemini project. But it was the oil crisis of 1973 that would change the course of his life forever. In 1973, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, OAPEC, imposed an oil embargo on nations supporting Israel during the Yom Kippur War. Oil prices skyrocketed, and the United States faced its first major energy crisis. Stanley Meyer, deeply affected by the crisis, became obsessed with finding an alternative to fossil fuels. His solution? Water. Meyer's invention was based on a process called electrolysis, which splits water into its basic elements: hydrogen and oxygen. His water fuel cell would use hydrogen as fuel and expel oxygen through the exhaust, producing only water vapor as a byproduct. Meyer claimed his invention could power a dune buggy, and he even demonstrated it on an Ohio TV station. According to him, you could travel from Los Angeles to New York using just 22 gallons of water. Meyer's demonstrations were flashy and captivating. Videos and photos show his dune buggy, painted with the words "water-powered car," surrounded by curious onlookers. He traveled across the country seeking investors and media attention. But despite the hype, there was no independent verification of his claims. No one could confirm if the car was genuinely powered by water alone. In 1996, Meyer's world came crashing down. Small investors who had poured money into his project grew suspicious when they saw no progress. They took him to court, and the judge appointed 3 experts to inspect Meyer's invention. But Meyer refused to let them examine his car. The experts concluded that his technology was ordinary and offered no revolutionary breakthrough. The court ruled that Meyer had committed gross and egregious fraud and ordered him to repay the investors. Meyer claimed he was threatened by representatives from big oil companies. He even alleged that he was offered $1 million, some say $1 billion, to abandon his invention. But he refused. Was Meyer a victim of corporate sabotage, or was he simply paranoid? His resistance to having his invention tested only fueled skepticism. On March 21, 1998, Stanley Meyer was having lunch at a restaurant in Grove City, Ohio. With him were his brother Stephen and 2 other men, believed to be investors. As Meyer sipped cranberry juice, he suddenly clutched his throat, gasped for air, and ran outside. His last words were, "They poisoned me." The coroner ruled his death as a brain aneurysm, but many believed there was more to the story. Detective Steve Robinette led the investigation. He collected testimonies, performed toxicology tests, and consulted the coroner. No traces of poison were found. The case was closed within 3 months, marked as death by natural causes. But for many, the mystery remains unsolved. 1 week after Meyer's death, his dune buggy and all his research materials were stolen from his garage. The vehicle later resurfaced in Canada, but its current status is unknown. Meyer's patents remain, but his invention was never scientifically validated. Despite the controversy, the idea of water-powered cars continues to inspire innovators. Companies like Toyota and Genepax are exploring hydrogen fuel technology, while NanoFlowCell AG is developing water-based flow systems. But the challenges remain. Extracting hydrogen from water through electrolysis requires more energy than it produces, making it impractical for now. Even Elon Musk has weighed in on the topic. In a 2023 podcast, he mentioned having working prototypes of water-powered cars, but claimed that government restrictions prevented further research. "It will probably be out for the public when we are completely out of oil," he said. "According to the currently accepted laws of physics, there is no way to extract chemical energy from water alone. Water itself is highly stable. It was one of the classical elements and contains very strong chemical bonds. Its enthalpy of formation is negative 68.3 kilocalories per mole, or negative 285.8 kilojoules per mole, meaning that energy is required to break those stable bonds, to separate water into its elements, and there are no other compounds of hydrogen and oxygen with more negative enthalpies of formation, meaning that no energy can be released in this manner either." Over the years, there have been other claims of water-powered cars. Charles H. Garrett allegedly demonstrated a water-fueled car for several minutes, which was reported on September 8, 1935, in the Dallas Morning News. The car generated hydrogen by electrolysis, as can be seen by examining Garrett's patent, issued that same year. This patent includes drawings which show a carburetor similar to an ordinary float-type carburetor, but with electrolysis plates in the lower portion, and where the float is used to maintain the level of the water. Garrett's patent failed to identify a new source of energy. Similarly, Daniel Dingle, a Filipino inventor, has been claiming since 1969 to have developed technology allowing water to be used as fuel. In 2000, Dingle entered into a business partnership with Formosa Plastics Group to further develop the technology. In 2008, Formosa Plastics successfully sued Dingle for fraud, and Dingle, who is 82, was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. This has raised skepticisms in several conspiracies if big oil companies and oil-producing nations are suppressing water-powered car technology to protect their profits. The idea is not far-fetched. The global oil industry is worth trillions of dollars, and any technology that could disrupt this market would face significant resistance. Meyer's claims of being threatened by oil companies add fuel to these conspiracy theories. The unanswered questions are, was Stanley Meyer truly poisoned? Or did he meet his Waterloo because his invention threatened the earnings of big companies and nations? The circumstances of his death remain shrouded in mystery. Who were the men sitting at the table with him that day? Were they investors, or were they something more sinister? The answers to these questions may never be known, but they continue to fuel speculation and debate.